Patreon.com/Taylor Durden. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's up with the connection. Maybe it's because I'm out here in the boonies, but I got a pretty decent amount of battery left. You would how bad was it? Anybody that's in here? How bad was it before? So what's up?
Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
So we're talking about male and female dynamics and basically trust. And Taylor was talking about like that bothersome energy of a person constantly needing confirmation and reassurance, and basically where that stems from.
Yeah, I feel like they always try to judo me into like whenever I have these conversations with women that I'm involved with, they always try to judo me into the shit like, oh well, you just run from it, the whole shit. You just don't want to even engage in it, and you're not gonna get no better. And I just be like, you just don't want me to tell you to get to beat it, bitch. You know what I mean? And I'm nice. You know what I mean? I'm a nice guy. Really, I'm a nice guy. I'm nicer than I want to be, and that's how I end up being very mean. I be being way too nice. I be being way too nice. And then out of nowhere, they be like, who the fuck is this? Who did you just become right now? I'm like, this is who I always been, and I just was never letting this motherfucker breathe. So I was nice so many times, and now you see the real me. And I was telling the one chick this shit. I was like, yo, generally speaking, she was like, we were just talking about like being, she was like, I'm an optimist or whatever. And I was like, I guess I'd be considered a pessimist, but I feel like I'm just objective, you know? But, um, I feel like I, I see the ugly in everything. I identify with ugly. I identify with ugly. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like I see it in the world. And for a long time I went looking for it. Now I just be like, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's my eyes trained to acknowledge it. And I feel like I see it and recognize it in people and things in the world. And so I feel like a lot of times when I talk to people about reality, about this life we're experiencing, they don't acknowledge that shit or they don't want to hear about it. They don't want it brought up at all. And so I feel like either it makes me want to bring it up even more. And since I associate or identify a lot of the times with ugly itself, and almost like want to be the voice. I'm like a lobbyist for ugly or something. I'm like, how you not recognize this shit? I feel like I'm not being seen at that point. You know what I mean? Because I feel like people don't acknowledge it. They don't see the ugly, and I feel like I'm the representative ambassador of ugly. And so like when people turn a blind eye to it, I'd be like, bitch, you turning a blind eye to me, and I'd be like taking it personal, but really it's just it is what it is. But a lot of times that's what I end up seeing. Like people don't. I don't feel like people really have the guts to go. They don't have the gumption to go into the questions and the answers that come with this road, like where you really like investigating yourself and like the origin of life itself. Like it's a lot. A lot of ugliness is a part of that process. Like you don't have to like identify it and recognize it and see how it festers and how it's permeates throughout this realm that we in, like, and so you can recognize the pattern of it, so you can like not avoid it, but you just know you can recognize like this is going towards ugliness, this is going towards something that is not productive or creative, whatever. And I feel like I'm always coming off as like a Debbie Downer or something, but I'm just like, bro, like you know this is going towards ugliness. Do you not see it? My whole life has been an ugly mess. I identify with ugliness as an individual a lot. And I feel like, yo, you're taking these steps you are gonna have a life like mine, or your offspring's gonna have a life like mine, or worse, because you're not acknowledging the pattern of ugliness that you're feeding into. And I feel like I point this shit out, and it's almost like people act like I created the ugliness because I showed it to them. And so yeah, I just be feeling unseen because nobody really wants to look at the ugliness. I feel like everybody is. I think we're in a really delusional arena right now. So it's like I think that situation kind of makes it easier for me to detach because I'd be like, people are not really dwelling in reality. So they're in some place that don't even exist anyway. I'm not about to dwell there with them. You know, that's how I generally feel. You know, like I never really feel like we're both dwelling in reality together when I'm in relationships. I feel like we're not looking at the same thing. Like, and I just, I usually just depart at that point. I don't really, I haven't found it in me to like really endure through that shit. I don't know. I feel like it don't really make sense because I know where it's going. I remember one time chick was asking me like, well, I guess then we shouldn't do nothing if you can already see it. I'm like, bitch, yeah, that's what I have insight for. I'm supposed to not have insight? I'm not supposed to not. I'm supposed to see something. I have the foresight and be like, let me just ignore what was inside me, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I think what you said is really significant that a lot of people are just not really taking that journey of self-awareness and really dissecting why certain relationships, the dynamics are the way they are, and how the choices that they make and the choices they don't make in their lives really speak to their own fears, their own insecurities. And so once you become more aware of that, you kind of start to see it in other people and you kind of start to see it in the world because, you know, everything is like a duality. You know, the day itself is like night and dark, you know, and it's like there's dimensions and it's like, okay, the earth is here and then we have different atmospheres and then we have the ocean, like below ocean level, then we have space. So, you know, to deny duality and to deny like darkness is kind of like denying reality. But so it's just, I think it's a level of evolution, like a level of presence that's, I guess that said person hasn't really attained or lived or perceived yet. Because they haven't questioned enough, you know, and everyone is, you know, you could be an optimist all you want, like bad shit's gonna happen, you know, no matter how
Yeah,
optimistic you
I feel
are.
like optimism made me a pessimist. Feeling like shit gonna just randomly work out. I feel like, you know, shit is in patterns and based off of will or lack of application of will. And that's how life unfolds, you know what I mean? It unfolds in patterns. It's fucking origami, you know what I mean? Like plasma origami and shit. And I feel like I don't know, like when it when it comes to like I like to
There's,
just talk about I think breaking it down into experiences is so much easier because you know I think it's just going to come off as very broad, but generally speaking, like I my battle is I want somebody to understand me but not be attached in the in like in that like to the I guess to the outcomes of it because a lot of it is like all right, so you talk to a shrink or somebody and like they supposedly objective and they don't have like any desired outcome. They just like hearing you out and they give you an objective reply. A lot of times when I talk to a woman about like why I see life the way I do, I feel like it's a jaded response. Either they want to keep me on the hook somehow, you know, and their response is a strategic, like Machiavellian response to try to get me to make a decision that they wanted me to make, but they want me to feel like I made it. And so I always be like, I
give
can't
us
even
an
discuss the
example of
life
that.
I'm having with the person I'm sharing life with.
Give me an example of what that response would look like, that Machiavellian response.
If somebody is saying like, oh, we're talking about, you know, the things I see in life or whatever, or things that I feel like this is not worth my time. I should abstain from this. And then a chick will be like, nah, you need to go, you need to lean into this because they know more so if I lean into it, then I'm staying with them. You know, if
Yeah.
a chick is on some shit like if that's what you feel like you need to do, then do that. You know what I mean? If leaving me is maybe what you need to do, that's what it entails for you to have sanity. I'm down. I feel like there's always a jaded response. It's never like objectively true. It's always got like a slant to it. So I can't even discuss my life with them. I feel like most of the time I got to be like inside myself, dialoguing with my personalities and my, you know, my true self about like what I'm gonna do or what I'm seeing, because I feel like I can't discuss reality with them, like because they're ultimately trying to keep me in a certain place they want me to be in, whether they really want me or they just want me to be on the hook or whatever it is. Like it's like I can't really discuss what I'm observing and experiencing. I feel like I don't feel like I feel like they're not just like if a chick was saying like I don't like this, that, and the third or whatever, and I'd be like, oh shit, this is a signal saying basically like we're on a divergent path. I'm gonna be like, all right, well then I guess I should remove myself from your life, or we go in our different ways, or we have a different dynamic where I see you occasionally or something. And I'm not trying to keep them in a place. And I feel like I don't really find that often or ever really from women. I feel like generally they're never on some shit like that. And that's like I be wanting to. I want them to understand the way I see life, but I don't want them to have the attachments that I have. It's like a weird thing. Like, you know, I want them to kind of be objective. I don't want them to be a shrink, but at the same time, like it's like a funny fine line where I feel like I want them to be able to see it the way I see it, not like they understand my explanation of life. Because people will comprehend what I'm saying, but I can tell they don't have no experience, or like they're not really like, it's almost like me telling them a story. It's not like they're really seeing what I'm seeing. If I say like, look, this is my life, this is what happens, and this is why I see this way, they're more so looking at it like a story instead of being able to like see how it relates to them and their attachments or what they've gone through or what they've experienced from third person or whatever. So I think a lot of the times, you know, I'm like, look, man, my life is like this because of this. I was treated like this because of this, and this is the pattern I've repeatedly seen over and over again. And then I don't feel like they ever. It's like I'm trying to get somebody that acknowledges that, and they can respect it, and they see that like what I'm saying is that's my subjective experience, but there's also it's an objective truth to it. You know what I mean? What I'm saying, what I'm expressing. But they're not on some shit where they're like trying to make me lean into a different direction or do anything. And they understand it. They're not like, a lot of times I feel like you just have sex with someone or you overpower them mentally, overpower them physically. And then you say like, this is the way life is or whatever. And then just like, they'll just capitulate. It's not like I want just capitulation. I want like actual understanding or you know, shared awareness where they're just like, you know what? I have come to this realization. I have seen this in my own way. And what you're saying, I can see the reality you're expressing. And I don't, you know, I'm not really expecting you to behave a certain way or do a certain thing. I'm just experiencing right now, you know, exhibiting virtue as much as I can to where I'm not suffocating anything. And I'm just willing to make the best out of everything. Usually it's not like that. Usually it's like, I tell them the story. I'm like, look, man, people treat me like this because of this. And then chicks be like, nah, it's not because of that. This is because, and the whole shit is more so to like steer me into a way instead of actually just being like objective. And I don't know. I just don't feel like it's ever objective. And that's the part. It makes me distrustful. And then I feel really isolated. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I can discuss my own reality. And it's like, how am I going to be with someone I can't talk about what we're experiencing?
Yeah, I think that's a lot.
Like,
Like
have you ever been in a relationship with someone
most people
and
are just gonna understand that because the thing is women are naturally manipulative. And
like,
yeah, and most women will never admit that, and most women will never don't know that about themselves. And but women are naturally manipulative, so it's like yeah, and it's very like innate and like kind of like innocent, I want to say, even though manipulation is not innocent. But yeah, they're gonna do that and they're gonna twist shit um to try to make you think that they're right, you know, and it's not wholesome. And I don't think people do it on purpose. I think they have good intentions. Some people will do it on purpose, you know, but some people, most people won't. It's not wholesome, and you can't negate someone's reality and their perspective and their point of view that they're sharing with you in those moments of like intimacy, because like you said, it makes you feel isolated and it makes you feel unseen. So most people don't know how to listen, you know, because most people, it's like, oh yeah, I'm here having this conversation with you, but really, I just want to get what I want to get out of the situation, out of us, out of this moment, out of you. And that's really what's on my mind. Like, I can't really even listen to you because the second you say something that's fucking with my plan, I'm going to try to change your mind about it.
Yeah.
So, so that's where most people are coming from. And, you know, thinking of it this way, I just think that it comes from a lack of being able to truly love, you know, a lack of being able to really, like, your desire is yourself and your needs and your wants. And again, trying to find your safety, and more so than your desire being exploration or curiosity of that person at that moment in time, which honestly would really get you what you want. So if you were actually really smart and a good manipulator, you would go that route. But
Yeah.
most people don't have that. Like, I feel like the intelligence levels are really, really low.
Yeah, like sometimes, I always gotta like take a step back and like it just becomes difficult because like conniving and stupid, they look so similar. And I can't tell sometimes. I can't be like, are you really playing? Or do you believe, sometimes I believe that they believe what they're saying. Like I'm like, damn, they really believe that shit, whatever they, you know what I mean? And that's just where they are.
Like I
But then
said,
other times,
I don't think they do it on purpose. I think it's innate manipulation, and you know, it's just not wholesome because they haven't kind of reached that level of care and concern, true concern for the other, where it's like, you know, like I can't force this person. Like, I don't want to force this person. It's not in my heart to want to force this person to fit into this box or into this narrative that I created, because that kind of feels like abusive and it kind of feels like rapey, you know, because it's like now I'm also kind of like diluting the other person's essence and I'm missing out on an opportunity for intimacy. Because if I just listen without trying to force, I'm actually really missing out on the opportunity to truly get to know this person. So it's just a lack of a lot of things.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a lack of substance or a lack of experiences or what, or coddling, you know, chemical coddling. But like, I, I've been in relationships, whole ass relationships where I can't talk. It's just crazy where it's the person I'm supposed to be able to confide in the most. And I don't think that like you should be only having confidence with, you should be able to have confidence with, your brothers or sisters or whoever, I mean, you should be able to do that if you can. That would definitely be more healthy if you could spread that confidence around. But at the same time, I feel like if I got problems in my relationship, I should be able to talk to the person that I'm having the relationship with. And 9 out of 10 times, I feel like I can't discuss it. I can't discuss what I'm actually feeling and thinking. I have to fucking lie or not say anything. You know what I mean? Because I can't. I can't. I feel like if I really, I feel like if I was to really be completely forthright about what I thought and felt, then there's no way that I'd be dealing with nervous breakdowns constantly, and then I just be exhausted, you know what I mean? So at this point, I feel like it just made me completely like gaslit and not really wanting to participate in in relationships because I don't know how I can ever really see them through. I feel like I'm always lying. I feel like I'm always gonna lie because I can't talk to them about what I'm feeling and thinking because everything seems so fragile. You know, I can't be like, I just feel like I can't be honest. I feel like it's like the whole relationship economy, I guess you could call it, is like built on lies. You know, and like the way I'm supposed to behave, like the day court is expected. I mean, expectations be destroying everything, but like it's like, do you really want honesty or do you want your expectations? You know, because I think
They definitely want their expectation. They definitely want their expectation for sure, without a doubt. When you're getting that type of response, that's they can't even see beyond it. But I'm telling you, like it's like, you know, like look at the level of, like, people cheat and stay in relationships for years. The divorce rates, like by 20, they say it's by 2030, 40% of women are going to be single and child free, childless, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, there's a reason for this. It's because people don't know, they don't have the substance, they don't have the capacity, the emotional bandwidth to hold authentic space for somebody else without feeling threatened. Like you're saying, like you would be constantly dealing with nervous breakdowns. And even people deal with this in their family dynamics. People deal with this in their professional work environments. People, deal with this in their with their girlfriends or with their guy friends, where it's like low key somebody's trying you, someone's being disrespected, or you feel like someone's crossing a boundary, and you tell it to them, and now shit then got switched up on you, and now they're playing the victim, and now they're gaslighting you, and now their feelings are hurt, and now somehow you're the one that is in the wrong, and you're the one that needs to apologize, and you're like, shit, I'm the one who brought this conversation up to you about something that I felt like I just wanted you to listen. I'm not even mad at you, like, I love you. I just wanted you to hear how this experience affected me so that you could get to know me better, and so that our relationship could be stronger. And now you're mad at me. Bitch, I was never mad at you to begin with. So now we have this, and so now I'm annoyed, you know? Now I'm mad because I was just trying to talk to you, and now you gaslit me, and now you're the victim, and now I have to coddle you. So this is this kind of, I feel like the dynamic that you're talking about, and it happens in every single type of relationship. That's why people don't deal with their parents. They call them narcissists. Brothers and sisters don't get along. Friends, a lot of women say they can't have friends. It's like this loneliness epidemic and this lack of trust in society. And you can just see it in people, that lack of friendliness that has everybody feeling so lonely. And I think it all stems from this emotional fragility of just not being able to hear things that you don't want to hear, you know, and taking it personal. And it's just a very, very deep fragility and immaturity.
yeah, and I just feel like anybody that you actually gonna desire or want to share your life with or whatever, like they're gonna be desirable. So it's like a spectrum kind of almost like the more desirable they are, the more of a, if you're not safe with yourself, you don't feel safe inside yourself and secure with being alone if you need to be. They're gonna like anybody that's desirable is just gonna come off as a threat, and I feel like people more so like in a combative state in the relationship because you're more of a threat to their emotional fragility than you know an accomplice to their contentment. It's like how many times in a relationship I always feel like I'm cheating. Every relationship I ever been in, I feel like I'm cheating on myself or I'm cheating. You know what I mean? Ultimately cheating because I can't be totally honest. And like how many times in a relationship do you feel like that you wanted to fuck someone or that you did fuck someone else or like you know what I mean? Like how many times have you had that desire? Like, as if I was to be honest about that, because I remember the one chick that I was with, she was like, if you think you want other bitches, then that's what you want or whatever. And I'd be like, man, if that's the case, bro, I don't know. It's like when I smell grilled onions, man, I don't. It's probably they probably got bacon or some shit next to the shit. I don't want none of that. but I smell the grilled onions and I start thinking like maybe I want something. It's like the same thing, like sensuality. Like when I see something I like, that shit is it forever. As long as my body is functional, I will want it. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm not gonna always act on it every time. Hell no. But I generally desire other people in every relationship I've ever been in, and I don't know how to even. I don't really know how to reconcile that with the person. You know what I mean? And I feel like bitches be lying like they don't feel the same way. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, yo, if you just was more honest about it, then I wouldn't feel like this is a threat to your sanity if I'm honest. Like, you know, if I see a chick with her and I'm like, yeah, I would definitely want to fuck her if you wasn't here right now and we wasn't together. And or if I knew I could. If you said I could and then she wanted to, I would probably do it. You know what I mean? But I can't. I never reached that level of honesty, and I feel like if it was honest like that, then it would regulate it. I think I wouldn't even do shit. I wouldn't even be out of pocket because it would be so cherished that I could be that real with someone. Like we're dwelling in reality together. I don't want to ruin this. But I feel like since it's always like, yo, you need to edit that. You need to edit the fact that you feel and think that way and that you have these drives. And I be feeling like, is that because they edited themselves? You know? Like, how many times have you been in a situation where you wanted to fuck someone else?
Fuck someone else or fuck someone up? What'd you say?
Somebody fuck someone else, have sex with someone else.
I don't know. I feel like I've been single for so long now. I don't even remember my past. That seems like a whole other
You
lifetime.
such a lying ass bitch. You such a lying ass bitch. Yeah, come on, bro. That's okay. Yeah, come on, bro.
Oh yeah.
You lived in South Florida.
I think it's just normal. I think it's just normal. But I think this is very important.
If you lived in Nebraska, if you was in Nebraska and you was like, no, I'm always just tunnel vision, I was like, okay. You live in South Florida.
So I guess, look, this is the thing too. It's like personality types, you know. No, of course it's normal. I think it's normal, but Taylor, you have your Venus is in Gemini, and it's like you are just, you know, first of all, humans are very non-monogamous naturally. So it's like if you're making like a decision to be in a committed relationship with someone, like you're making this that's why it's called a commitment, because you're kind of going against your nature and you're gonna deny the flesh, you know, and you're going to commit to this person. So that's a choice. It's not natural, but it's a choice. And yeah, I think to say that those urges and those thoughts go away completely just because you're in a relationship with someone is not the truth, you know? And again, I just think it takes a lot of maturity and confidence to not be intimidated by that truth.
In the Oahu Jing, it says, the cords of passion and desire weave a binding net around you. The trap of duality is tenacious. Bound, rigid, and trapped, you cannot experience liberation. Through dual cultivation, it is impossible to unravel the net, soften the rigidity, dismantle the trap. Oh, that's not the fucking quote I wanted, though. I wanted the one about, like, if you deny your body, it's like having a bunch of trapped snakes. Ah, smoke me.
But when you're talking about, like, if you talk about like the 7 deadly sins, it's like every urge that you get is not to be followed into, because then that's Satanism, you know?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I just feel like I wish I could communicate it. I feel like if I could communicate it, it would diffuse it. If I could be like, yeah, that's the type of bitch I would normally fuck right there. Or like, oh, I like that, like, that's the body I would normally go for right here. These features, and it's just features. It's just like, it's a flesh market almost at that point. I think that should be threatening a chick. If that threatens her, because that shouldn't even threaten her. You know what I mean? But if that's going to threaten her, it's definitely going to threaten her when I be like, yo, I love that bitch's sense of humor. That bitch going to be like, what? You even something with substance? You like that bitch's wittiness? I'm even more threatened than the bitch being a Coke bottle. You know what I mean? Because I feel like beauty is really, you know, it's not always skin deep, obviously. I mean, just however you want to look at subjective, but I'm saying, like, if they're threatened by physical things and we can't talk about that shit, then I definitely can't talk to them about, like, women that I share other I don't know if I spoiled it for myself or whatever, but I've experienced like different mental or metaphysical stimulation or arousal with women that I don't always get it. Different women have different things, and I can't even talk about my past. I can't talk about the things that I find attractive that are metaphysical. If I can't talk about physical things, there's no way I can talk about like, yeah, I used to love when this bitch used to read to me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I was just saying, like, I can't talk about that kind of shit. That's even more of a threat. The physical shit should be not much of a threat at all. I should be able to talk to you about like, yeah, I used to fuck a bitch that looked just like that right there. It's not like we live in an era where we all Mormons or some shit. You know what I mean? Like I can see if like we was virgins when we met, and I'm just like, you've already met. I'm a used car. I'm not even from Hertz, bro. I'm from Budget. They people. You know what I mean? I've used this vehicle, and like at the same time, that's what they like though. I feel like chicks like a dude that has experience. You don't really want to fuck a virgin. You know what I mean? Dudes want to fuck a virgin. I think generally speaking, they want a chick with less bodies. They don't have to be a virgin, but like less miles on that motherfucker. I feel like with chicks, a lot of the time, they want a guy with experience that know what he's doing. You know, unless they just want to can dominate and control the shit. You know what I mean? So I think it's like a funny dichotomy there, where like, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, obviously, like you're saying, that you don't want to follow the desires of the flesh. But if I have to lie to you about what I like, you know, because I be with some chicks for things that are not skin deep. You know what I mean? And I think that they're still beautiful physically, though. I'd be like, damn, this woman's pretty, but I'm not with her. That's not the foundation of this. I'm just glad that she is, but I'm with her for our other, you know, the other parts of the dynamic, the other parts of the connection that's unseen. And I feel like that should hold more weight, you know, because I'll be with a chick that's not my physical type. If you was going to make me describe a chick, you know what I mean? If you're going to make me describe a chick, it's somewhere between like, you know, I got my preferences, obviously, right? Things that I like physically, that I think I like. And I be with chicks that don't look like that at all. And I'm like, yo, if you're gonna be mad at what I like or what I am used to or what I've experienced, you're gonna be mad forever. And this we'll never be able to have anything because you're threatened by physical shit. And so that already makes you mentally ugly.
Yeah.
I hate to be
It's
like
gonna
that.
be it's just gonna take a woman that has a lot of confidence and that just is very secure in what you guys have to not be threatened by you, needing to make those comments.
Most of these bitches have been used a lot. You know what I mean? They probably been with dudes with bigger dicks or more money. You know what I mean? With most guys on earth. So like obviously, like if you're threatened by that as a guy, you're done. You're cooked. You that insecurity is going to fester and it's going to expand in the rest of your. It's going to express itself in the rest of your life. And so I don't really. We're not living in a fucking. I don't want to say medieval, but a different time. You know what I mean? Where people was more regulated sexually. You can't really expect. You know, you're picking up a rental car and you don't know who drove it, and it's like yo, a bunch of people rode this bitch. She might not even have been herself that whole time, so she don't really know what she was doing. So like, you know, it's somebody with more money or a bigger dick could have fucked her, but they never had a connection. Nobody was really present, so it's all mechanical. So like, if you're threatened by the physical end of it, then if it's a dude that she had a real connection with, I'm like, let me get out of the way of this. You know what I mean? Even if he got a 3-inch dick, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, look, you should probably be with this man. Because I've been with chicks, man, that like very easy to please, very attractive. And I'd be like, yo, you don't even really need a big dick, honestly. You don't need that. You might think you need that for whatever reason, but you could be good with like a 3.5-inch dick and some dude that you have a real connection with. You don't need me for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got so much extra dick you don't even need for this. You know what I'm saying? This is unnecessary dick in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, go be with someone that you have a real connection with that matches your snatch. And like, I feel like it's the same thing with guys. You know what I mean? So many chicks I see, it's like anything. It's like when you're a kid and you're in a candy store, you want all the candy. You know what I'm saying? So many chicks I see, I'm like, yo, look, I know damn well. I want her for one night. I don't want her forever. You know what I'm saying? And to try to extend it or make it longer would be disrespectful. So why even go down the road at all? You know, why even rent this car at all? And like, it don't make sense. You know. And so I don't know. I feel like guys be with bitches that they think other dudes are attracted to. They don't even like the bitch. The bitch just beautiful to the world, and they're like, yeah, this is my bitch. But you don't even like this hoe. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing about you know, a lot of these bitches I fucked with before that could have just got over with a 3-inch dick and the guy they liked. Instead, they with me, and I'm hating myself. She hating herself. I'm punishing her. You know, not like physically, but you know, I already know. I mean, physically, yeah, because we having sex and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be fucking. You know, so like, yeah, it is a physical element of the abuse. Like we're abusing ourselves that way. But you know what I'm saying? Like so many times I've been with chicks that I'm like, I know if I bring her places, people gonna be like, damn, that bitch the baddest bitch here. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like her though. You know what I mean? I don't really like her. I just like that. I like that more than I like winning. Motherfucker jerk off to winning. You know, like you know, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah, because for men, women are a status symbol.
yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, and chicks want to be chose by a guy that is a winner. Dudes like to win, and chicks like winners. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
fair. I think that's fair. You know,
that's
I,
true.
I wouldn't mind an athletic chick or competitive chick or whatever, but like, I'm not really looking to be in competition, a competition ship. I've tried that where you like anything you can do, I can do better. You know what I mean? All the whole relationship. You know what
With
I mean? And
who?
it's like this is not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna work. We're not together really. Like I'm just out here fucking sparring with you. It's a sparring shit. You know what I mean? And that's I don't know, man. That's a lot of what I go through, and I feel like I can't ever. I wish I could be as real with as I am with the chicks that I end up being with as I am with you. You know, if I could be like that with a chick, if I could be brutally honest with them, if I could do that and they could stomach it and they really worked on their nerves to where they would be like, I'm not gonna let it phase me. I'm gonna live my fucking life. Whatever he does, if it's foul, he's gotta live with it, and I'm gonna get what's designed for me because I'm not doing foul shit. If they had that confidence and that security, I would never cheat on them, yo. I would never even think about cheating on them. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of where, if I'm already thinking about it, it's already over. How many times have you cheated though? Physically? How many times have you cheated mentally? And then how many times have you cheated? Physically is already both, but how many times have you cheated physically?
I cheated when I was like 15. I cheated 15 years old. I cheated on my boyfriend. Like 16, middle school. That was the last time I cheated on someone physically. And I cheat, but I
Yeah.
what?
No, I'm saying, yeah, no, I cheated on my high school girlfriend. It wasn't even crazy though.
I cheated on him with his best friend. It was really crazy.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. So it was pretty bad for me. It was pretty bad. And I really liked my boyfriend, so I don't know why I would do that, but I was a teenager. And I
I feel
think
like
that, huh?
did he get over it? I feel like my high school girlfriend never got over it, yo.
No, he never got over it. He would call me and leave that song, Eamon, fuck you, you hoe, I don't want you back on my voicemail.
That's a lot of effort.
Yeah, I think he was really hurt. And then after when I did that, I really learned my lesson and I never did it again. But I feel like after that, I just kind of like I would, whenever I was in other relationships, I felt like I would want to cheat with people that were more like intellectual or like kind of like people I had that had like the same taste in music as me or like maybe had like a more of a level of depth. I don't know because when I look back on it now, I feel like the relationships that I chose were because there was a lot of physical compatibility with them. And I was just like, there was like a physical, like flesh, like connection, just like in every way. And there was a lot of fun and a lot of laughter. And I think that that's what drove those relationships. And then whenever I would meet someone that was like more, like, I don't want to say more creative because everyone that I've dated has been like a musician or an artist of sorts. But I don't know. Whenever I guess I'm more like attracted to like people's brains, people's minds, and then I would be like, damn, like if only I could be with this person, like shit like that. And then, but then that eventually I would start feeling that, and I would start feeling like I was betraying myself by being in that relationship, and then I would just start being like, when we're in that routine of a relationship, I would start feeling like, damn, I would really rather be doing this. Like if I was by myself, I would be my day would be like this, or like this relationship is kind of fucking with the way I would choose and want my day to be. Like I want to be at the farmer's market right now. You don't want to be here. I want to be doing this. I want to be like stargazing, and you want to be like watching YouTube or just I don't know, different shit like that. And then that's when I would start losing my interest and kind of start detaching from the relationship because I'm the one who has broken up with every person I've ever dated. It's just when it gets to a point where I'm just unhappy, I just can't tolerate it anymore because it starts fucking with my head, and then I just depart.
Yeah, I think it sucks, man, because we be leading with our dicks and pussies a lot of the time, and then trying to reverse engineer the situation. Like, damn, I really like this. Let me try to reverse engineer a relationship around this warmth of this sex or whatever. And like, yeah, man, I
And
think it's
that's
tough, man. I think it's really like you need somebody that like it's wild, like because I think everything's so threatening and everything's so hypersexualized that it's hard to have other relationships or friendships, because shit could go so it could just go from 0 to 60 really fast. You know what I mean? Like like you fucked a dude's best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You might have thought he was funny, whatever. Y'all was just hanging out because you were hanging out with his best friend, and now you got to know him, and out of nowhere, like you fucking like that. I mean, it's like it feels like such a like we're in such a threat assessment mode all the time instead of just being like, yo, let the chips fall where they may, man. My carpenter friend, he like in his 60s, like 60 or 61 or some shit. And he said his bitch left him for his best friend and they moved into the house he built. I'm like, damn, dog, you from a totally different generation and this is happening. You know what I mean? And like, I don't think it's, any more safe out here now. So I think
no,
the fact that it's not
it's not.
safe, I think people really should take the edge off and be like, look, man, it is what it is. I'm not going to try to force you. I'm not going to make you hold my hand. I mean, I think that I just, I had sex with people that I should have just been friends with a lot of the time. And then, like, I would have been able to just have, like, the laughs and the wittiness and the insight from women that wouldn't have come with this jaded or slanted perspective that comes with being in a relationship with them. And so a lot of times I'll be, you know, having sex with someone, and then I'll be like, damn, and then I really do end up caring about them maybe, and then I'm like, fuck, but I don't really. This ain't forever though. But we did something like to our bodies that kind of like is like forever, and so now it's like there's no going back from here, and it's just crazy, man. I think the thing is, right? I hate the name drop, but fuck it, man. I don't even think Kate would care. So like with Kate, like Kate was like the most like War of the Roses shit I ever had. Like, but to be real, like in the beginning, I feel like I don't really know. The whole time might have just been total infidelity from the jump. But in the beginning, I wanted to get out of it. I felt like I was more so the one that was like kind of looking for exits and trying to maybe fuck with another bitch to get over. But I never did. I was like always kind of like keeping the door open maybe in my mind and like, you know, flirting with bitches and stuff. But I never really pushed the envelope. And I felt like she was like sprung and didn't want to be. And then I was like detached and was like, fuck it, I don't want to be in this no more. And then as soon as she moved on, I was like, wait, bitch, don't move. You need to stay in this fucking spot right here. Don't you fucking move, bitch. You stay right here. You know what I mean? I was like, you're a fucking object. You know what I mean? And I feel like that. So even though like I feel like, you know, for years I'd be like, this bitch cheated on me. I feel like I started it. You know, looking back, I'd be like, I started it though. You know what I mean? And like in the ways that matter, in the mental and emotional way, because somebody fucking you, you know, a lot of times it can seem emotional because you're activating your body in that way, but they don't really have any depth to it, and it's just mechanical, and it's just void filling. Figuratively, actually.
I really think that detached sex like that is like being void of soul because you know when there's no possible way like the way that people are having like sex without attachment and like really being okay with it, um it's not normal. It's not normal, and it's literally I believe that it's a sign that a part of your soul is not in your body and that you're possessed by demons, you know. And it's like, yeah, because like a lot of women have sex with men to get approval or to get companionship or to like hopefully hope that the guy wants more and to kind of lure them in that way. And then when they don't get that from them, then they're still trying to figure out why the guy doesn't want them. And then they're like texting him and then they're all worried about it and then they're telling all their friends. But then there's women that have sex with men because they just want to have sex and they really couldn't care less if he ever calls them or reaches out to them and they're not emotionally attached. And I think that
That's a cold bitch. That's a cold bitch, you know what I mean? And those bitches do exist.
yeah. And I think that Jesus Christ, it's just not normal and the society is like that out there. And
That's the thing though, what is normal? So many times I'll fuck a bitch, I like the intimacy and the closeness, and I like the euphoria from like the energy, cycling the energy. And then maybe we laugh or we do some things together that we enjoy. We have like maybe a lot of the same interests or something. Or it's just different interests and it complements. And but then it's like, this is all fun and shit, this is cool, but we should not be breeding. So now we've done all the things that a person does with the person they're supposed to be breeding with, but we're not objectively, this is not who I'm supposed to be breeding with. And that's kind of like what my conflict is. And that's why I feel like that's the divergent point between me and most women. Because I'm looking at it like, look, this is an emotionless thing. As much as it is emotional to have a child or to have sex, this is an emotionless thing, like as far as the decision. It has to be in accord with like the designs of like who is of breeding compatibility. If they're not, then you should not really be even, the potential is not there. You know what I mean? If there's no real potential, there's no compatibility for that, then there's no potential really. The energy's not there. So the sex not really ever going to be as intimate or as ecstatic as it could be because there's no potential. It's not even like there. There's no even real temptation.
missing. There's a piece missing. You know, there's a big piece missing. And I think that, you know, that's because there's the education system. Like people's parents are not teaching them that. You know, like sex is for the purpose of procreation. And that's really, yeah, it's pleasurable because otherwise, like, why would you do it? You know, but there's no education. Parents aren't teaching that their kids that. So it's like the government, society hasn't taken it upon themselves as a responsibility to teach children that, to teach children the things to better society that parents are not teaching them at home. And so people are just having sex to have sex for one reason or another, like the ones that I just mentioned before, because it's kind of like a hobby or like an escapism. It's like you're growing up, you're being bombarded by the media, all these sexual messages, and you're looking for like wholeness, and you're looking for company, and you're looking for pleasure. So people look for it, in food and sex and drugs and all types of escapes, media, scrolling, watching TV, clubbing, partying. This is where they're getting their fulfillment from, and it's just all different ways of escaping yourself. And the more years you do that, it's like the less time you have with yourself, because if you look at the amount of time that a human being is alive, it's not a lot. And it's like every year is important in order to help you cultivate yourself and get to know yourself and express yourself to your best capacity and authentically. And every year that you do that is like a year you lose, a year you miss. And that's why, you have people that are literally 60, 70, 80, 50, 40, and they're the same person that they were when they were in their 20s. They're the same. They will argue like how they did when they were 15, because growing is like a choice. And it's like it takes like reflection. You have to spend time on your own and reflect, and some people will never do that. And yeah, sex, I really wish that sex was regarded as like the sacred act that it is and the responsibility that it is, because then so many people wouldn't be having kids that they're not ready for. And then if people knew what the responsibility that it was, then they would consciously choose partners. If it was like forged into their mind since childhood, you know, hey, when you have sex, it's to have a kid. You might have a kid, and this is a responsibility of that. Then when people were in that, childbearing age, they would be like, hey, when we have sex, this is what happens. Let me choose someone that I actually would want to breed with, you know? And I feel like if we were in a society that was really evolved, or that really cared about us as people, the government and it would take the charge and the lead of what parents were not doing it to like of what parents were not doing to procure a better society. And eventually the ignorant people would die off, and the smart people would take over the world and then teach their children, and society could just keep getting better. It's really not complex. But they're not
Yeah.
doing that. They're not doing that. So it's like you don't have to be a genius to figure it out. So it's obviously that they don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is the abortion culture, which is like part of the quitter culture. It's like the quitter and like participation trophy culture. It goes hand in hand with the abortion culture. Because I feel like a lot of people, they feel like they can just they can use abortion like birth control. And I feel if parents were more so like, yo, don't kill our family member. This is this is a decision you're making for the whole family. To have sex with someone and then get pregnant and then kill it, that's our family member that you're murdering as well. This is all of our family member, and we don't approve of that. We're not quitters in this house. I feel like that was more so the mentality going forward, and they were like, look, if you're gonna have sex, and if you get pregnant, you're gonna keep the kid. I'm not gonna be condoning that shit. You murdering our family member, and I feel like too many people are not that way, man. And like you were saying, like a lot of people are kind of still, they be 60 years old, they're still like arguing the same points they were when they're 20. And a lot of times it'd be like a split where they're like chemically frozen in time, where they're like the part of them that's 20 or 30 that never grew up, it shows itself like kind of like a crying baby when they get drunk or they get high, or maybe through their sexual appetite. That shit exposes itself, and you get you're observing and experiencing the 20-year-old them that they never grew up and they never reconciled with. And like I think it just became obvious. I'm glad. I don't know if it's my energy, I got a little tired or what, but so much of it was just like the sexual formula. I recognize like when I could just exhibit this formula, almost like when you fucking do a cheat code on Grand Theft Auto. You like L1, L2, R1, R2, left, down, right, up, or whatever. I feel like that I knew what to do to get a woman to a certain place sexually, and to make her give me that energy and confide in me or whatever. In this way, it was like a cheat code. It really was, and
You're
like,
like you're like the coding. You have the coding for the female body. You're like the coding master.
yeah, I feel like I figured it out, and I feel like people settle for that though. Mad people settle for the fact that they can just like crack the code and then go with that and like manipulate another person, manipulate their own body to manipulate them instead of like actually living in a moment. Like it's a totally different approach to sexuality where you like you actually have the potential for creation, and that's what makes this sex good. And you recognize that, and it's not something it's not like a flame that you play with. It's like actually something to be taken care of, and I feel like it's just a totally different dynamic. You know, I don't know. I don't see it being exhibited, and I feel like the older I get, the more I see my generation just lost in distraction, man. When it comes to sex, lost in the formulas. You know, chick's not even fucking you. She just doing what she thinks. She trying to do her cheat code on you. She doing what she thinks would work instead of just being present with you. And so ends up being routine. It's mechanical, man. And like a lot of people are living very mechanically. And I think I just, it's something I don't have any children, so I never really experienced it. But I do know that everything, like so much shit is wrong. And I feel like I broke the system. It's like beating Grand Theft Auto. You use all the codes, and then you're like, let me just try to beat the game without the codes this time and really do the challenges.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like after my last relationship, I was like, I'm never having sex again. And I haven't had sex in 3 years because something inside of me just switched, and I was never like that before. And some people grow and change, and some people don't. And I don't really know the reason behind why that is. That's more of like a mystery. Maybe it's your destiny, maybe it's your soul contract, maybe it's your soul age, maybe it's what you came here to experience. I don't know. I don't know what it would be, but for me, like prior to that, it was like sex was just fun.
It was like sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know, man. At this point, I know everything I've done so far is wrong. So I'll be like, I don't want it to look like what I think I know. It got to really be like actually dwelling in reality shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to tamper. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what to do to get the things that I think I want or that I think I should get to like validate myself or like to have like sexual dominion or some type of dominion over someone or status. I know those things, but it's not all that shit is fruitless. So it's like I'm trying to get something I never experienced, but I know it exists, and I never done it before. But I know everything I've done up to date is wrong. So I don't want to be like just so easy as to say like, oh, I just do the opposite of what I've been doing.
That's
You know
what
what I
I
mean?
was about to say. It's like you're like, okay, well, I know everything I have done is wrong, so let me just do the opposite of that.
But so many times, like it's funny, like so many times in life, opportunities came by that I created myself. Where I was like, damn, if I didn't say something right now, whether it was to get money, like when I used to sell weed or whatever, different times I'd be like, man, I could ask this person if they want to buy some weed. And then I end up making a sale, and I'm like, damn, I would have never got this money in my pocket right now if I didn't open my fucking mouth. And then the same thing with me and women. Like, damn, I would never even know this person. I wouldn't even be in this person's bed right now if I would have just been like, ah, nah. I'm gonna just keep going.
In business, that's called making offers. The more offers you make, the more business you get.
Yeah, this is the Patrice O'Neal shit where dudes is just playing a numbers game. He was like, you gotta talk to 20 bitches a day. You know what I mean? Just and get comfortable with getting shot down. You know, you at least I need you to talk to 20 bitches a day, whatever. And I feel like, that I get that, but then it's like you're really casting a wide net and you're gonna catch shit that you wasn't intending to catch at the same time. So it's like funny, like the fine line with it, where the closed mouth don't get fed, but at the same time, a lot of the times I open my fucking mouth, I end up eating some shit I didn't want to eat. Pun intended. You know what I mean? You know, I'm fucking eating some box I should have never ate. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like
So
I
the
just feel
average
like,
box.
yeah, I was in that Chevy living savage life. But no, like I so that's where I feel all the time I see bitches, I be like, man, I want to say something. And I don't and it's like I have to do it I have to do it right then. I can't deliberate. Because if I go into like out of the moment and into my head, then I'm already in Machiavelli mode where I'm like 12 chess steps ahead and what she gonna say, what I'm gonna say, and where it's gonna go and how long the shelf life. And I'm already way far down the road. I gotta really stay right there and it's that little space before going into my head and, fucking going into hers where I have to respond, you know what I mean, or say something, and put myself in position. But I don't know. It's like such a fine line. Like, am I tampering? Am I interfering with their process and mine?
Can you see me on your screen? I just plugged my phone in and I think it disconnected it.
Yeah, you're frozen.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.
You see me?
No.
Oh damn. Yeah. I don't know, man. When I fuck with chicks my age and older, they all got kids or they all got abortions or they all just ran through. And then for the most part, it's rare that you run into one that's not. They usually be like goal oriented like a motherfucker, and them bitches flick their beans to winning. You know what I mean? And so it's either like, and that's a small. We're all competing for those handful of bitches, and then the other side of that is like the younger generation. A lot of them got the shot just to go to university or whatever. So it's like I hate to get into the numbers of it, but I don't want to ignore the numbers at the same time. I don't want to be like naive about it. Like, do you want to restart or you want to call it a night?
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Oh, okay. Um, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna go to bed.
All right then. Thank you, Itzy.
Okay. Night night.
Itzy
Bye.
Bitsy. All right. Peace.